Hey, Nomies. Want to know what we're doing today? Do you? I bet you do. That's why you're watching. Well, since you so patiently waited, check this out. Time to build another wood stove.
You ready? Yeah, dude.
This episode proudly sponsored by Gnome Domes Alaska, a nonprofit workers cooperative manufacturing products that offer affordable and sustainable living solutions. All right, Nomies. Last time we built a belly stove out of a gas bottle, stuck it in the gnome shack. We called it the Dickie Doo Stove.
We can see your Dickie Doo. Do y'all know what a Dickie Doo is? Can we tell them that, Donnie?
Your gut sticks out farther than you.
Now we're gonna take one of those barrel stove kits. I'm sure you've seen them. They're fairly inexpensive online. You can get them, different hardware stores carry them. But basically, it's a kit that takes one of these and turns it into one of these. We can do better than that. They're easy. Anybody can do them. They're a good temporary stove if you got a big, structure you're putting outside, a big tent or something like that. Tendency is that because the metal's so thin, they burn through after time. Most people don't put any kind of reinforcement in the bottom, like sand or stones or bricks, so they burn through the bottom, they burn through the side because they get so hot because they're so big and they hold so much. We're going to do it a little bit differently. We're making a barrel stove mass heater. You can Google anywhere. I'm sure you'll never find one of these anywhere else online. This is the first right here
on the Gnomestead.
Hey, Nomies, while I got your attention for a minute, do us a favor. There's something you can do that would help us out tremendously. After all, we didn't take all the trouble to make this video for you. Least you could do. Go right down there. Right down there, somewhere around there. Hit that like button. And if you don't like it, you can hit the thumbs down. I don't care. And like I say, if you really, 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 really like it, over here, somewhere, over in there, there's a subscribe. And you can always hit that ding-a-ling-a-ling. I'll send you notifications. Anyway, let's get back to work. Alright, normally when you're building one of these, all you're going to need is one of these basic 55-gallon drums and a stove barrel kit. And generally a stove barrel kit comes with
one of these,
a couple of these legs,
stove jack with a damper in it for putting in a barrel. See, it's all contoured, ready to go,
and some hardware. But basically what you get with this is like, you get a damper to go on top of your barrel. Can't see it. Contour of the barrel. We're going to put it right about back in there. We are not going to be using this. We are actually going to flatten the top of this. So we have a nice flat cooktop instead of a round surface. So we are going to take that damper out of there. We just don't need this. So let's get rid of it. Hey, get some of this other stuff out of the way we're not going to need yet. And I'll show you here what we're going to do. Basically, what you... Oh, here, get the camera a little closer, maybe. Stand by. Alright. Still rolling. Okay. So basically it was one of these. You get your own barrel, wherever you want. And they provide you with one of these doors. And what you basically have to do, open the door up. You cut this opening up right here. You drill some holes. The bolts that come with it, you bolt this door onto it. You put that stove pipe jack on the side of the barrel. Legs, you're in business half a day, you got heat. Works good for temporary, hunting camp stoves, long term, like I said, these barrels tend to burn through. But what we're going to do is we're going to improve on this 10 times by making this a mass heater. So you might be asking yourself, if you're not familiar with a mass heater, what is a mass heater? Well, basically a mass heater is something that creates heat. We are using a wood burning stove right here with a firebox in it. It's going to have a fire in it. And it's going to be surrounded in clay and sand. And that clay and sand, instead of the heat going directly out the sides of the barrel, that clay and sand is going to store a lot of that heat. So when the fire goes out, you're going to get, well, we're going to test it out, but I'm guessing probably at least 4 hours of heat continues to radiate off this barrel. Instead of the fire going out, the stove getting cold because it's thin steel, all your heat going up the chimney, it's gone. That's not how we roll.
First thing we gotta do is figure out our door and our firebox situation, so let's move back here, see what else we gotta do.
Alright, Nomies, let's make some room on the table here. We're not going to need the legs for a while. We're not going to need the hardware for a while. We are going to need the door, and basically what we got to do, let me get a drawing going. Okay, hopefully you can see this okay. Basically, with your standard barrel stove, what you have a barrel with a door, okay, and a stovepipe coming up. And you got a round top on your barrel. We don't want that. One, we want to make sure that we have this whole area in here full of mass instead of hollow. So we're going to take this and we're going to make a box out of fire bricks. And basically what it's going to look like is you're going to have a barrel with a flat top. It goes like this. We got a piece of steel over here, we'll show you. And the door is going to go in here. Something like that. And then we're going to line this whole thing with fire bricks. We're going to make a box out of fire bricks. And it's going to be a minimum of 18 inches deep. And this here's your door. You got your hinges. Okay, there's your door. It opens up like that. So this is going to be all fire brick, and it's going to be about 18 inches deep. And then in here is going to be all sand. And actually not sand, it's going to be a mixture of clay and sand, because clay and sand together mixed in a nice solid mass is a cob, and that cob is going to store your heat and let it radiate out slowly so it doesn't get wasted going up the chimney. All right, so to do this, what are we going to need? Well, we're going to start with a fresh piece of cardboard. And what we got to do is figuring out where this door is. There we go. There we go. So figure out on this cardboard, we're going to draw this out. Why am I talking about it? Let me just do it. Draw this whole thing out.
Make sure you mark all your bolt holes.
And just for grins and giggles, I'm going to mark where these vents are. At least this one, if I can.
Okay, last thing I gotta mark is the inside. Done with that. And what we have now is a nice picture template of the door. Now we gotta get our fire bricks. Let me go grab them.
We're going to need a bunch. How many? Well, that many.
Plus that many.
Plus that many.
Plus that many. If we can't do it with this, we're doing something wrong.
All right, Normals, we got our template here where our doors are going to be. And basically, when we're putting this in here, we want to make sure that we're inside the door so it's not sticking out this way. And we want to avoid all of these screws, holes, because they are bolts that actually stick through the lid of the stove. So we're going to want something that runs right along the edge there, all the way around, and down here, that doesn't block our ventilation. So let me lay this down here. I'm going to mess around for a little bit, see what the layout's going to look like best for the number of bricks we got. Let's lay this thing out. Nomies, let's see what we got here. It's looking like we're not going to be able to get away with bypassing at least our screws on the side. You can definitely bypass these and the two on the bottom. We can slide that down a little bit. But I think what we're going to do is we're probably going to make room for them in here, drill some holes or something like that. That'll help set the bricks too and lock them in. But that's our pattern. I think we're going to be on. This here represents the lid that's going. This is upside down, by the way. Here's where our vent's going to be. Going to make sure air comes in here. So basically, that right there is going to be that steel plate. Because we're going to take this barrel and cut in the right spot, according to this right here. That distance right there. So I'm going to finish laying these bricks out and see how big a box we can get out of what we got. Alright, just to give you a little bit of perspective, this box is 18 inches deep, 18 inches, and 11 inches wide, 13.5 inches tall. That is plenty big enough for a firebox. So this orientation, you can see this is where the door is going to be. Alright. So we've got plenty of room. Our vent's going to be plenty clear. Like I said, we're going to have to do something about our bolt holes under there, but that's not a big deal. Yeah, not a big deal. Well, we figured out our layout, what we got to do, and we picked out our drum. Now, before we start cutting on this thing, got a little bit of something in there. It says it used to be motor oil. That does not sound like motor oil. Hopefully it ain't something flammable. We shall see. Give it the sniff test. Don't smell flammable. That's a little wet. Let's see. Flammable. Not flammable. Still got to get whatever's in there out of there. Ew. Wonder what it is. Okay, now that we know our barrel's nice and safe, it just had some water in there, rusty water sitting. Yeah, it's going to be nasty when we get inside, but it'll burn off just fine. What do we got to do next? Okay, so we got the layout. Yes, it's a little bit off on our thing, but it's going to work. What I needed was the dimension here, and I put a square on here, made sure it's nice and square, so that's our dimension. What's going to happen here, focally, dokily, nomally, wombly, is our barrel is going to come up like this, not to scale, and like that. And there's going to be a little bit of an opening right there, because down in this area right in here, there's going to be clay and sand. So that's going to be our mass. So all the way around this firebox that's going to be sitting inside here is going to be our mass. But we want a flat top on it. So we had to figure out what the distance is from here to here, right? With a little bit of a gap. And what I figured that out to be, with the gap I want, from there to there, is 15. Looking through a camera and writing is not easy. Try it sometime. 15.5 inches. Beep, 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 beep. And then it's going to be the flat top. Going right across there. That flat top right there. Going to go right across there. Just like that. You follow me? You follow me? You follow me? You smell what I'm stepping in? So, 15.5 inches. We got to move over to here. And I got my trusty dusty square here. And I got that there. And I got that on 15.5 inches. Roughly there. Okay. And I'm going to mark it. I don't think this is going to mark very well. It gave me something. I got a white one I think I'll try. Basically. Oops. We want to do a little carrot. There we go. We want to mark that. Now we want to make straight lines. Going all the way down there. But they got to be nice and straight flush with the top, 90 degrees. Alright, now what I done did here, Anomalies, is I took one of my marks, took a nice straight edge, a nice straight line, and I just continued it with the duct tape. Because if you use a nice wide tape like this, when it wants to stick, it doesn't like to stick to cold barrels. We got a heater going. Anyway, yeah. Nice straight line with duct tape. And what I'm going to do is transfer that 15.5 from that point over to there. And then I'll just connect them with another piece of tape. And then we got two nice straight lines to cut off. What do you think? Let's do it. Okay, we're back. It's the next day. Sun's barely over the trees and it's noon. But we're down here working. And we got our box laid out this way. So I can give you an idea. I took the door off. Make that thing lighter. But that's your frame. It's actually going to go up a little bit higher. The top of this is going to be flush with that right there. And then your metal top. That one right there. Going to go across there. But since this is the total depth of this firebox, which is roughly, it's not roughly, it is what it is. What is it? It is 18 inches. And we've got, how much on this barrel? Check this out here. We've got 35 inches. We actually don't need that much. So what we're going to do is we're going to chop and squat this barrel. So, tell you what I'm going to do here. We've got a firebox that is 18 inches. If we come back to this next rib right here, and we cut it in the right spot, take this, cut it in the right spot, put them back together, we can bend that over and put it back on. And then we'll have a chopped and squatted barrel. And it'll have about 5-6 inches of mass in the rear of it. And all the way around the box. All right, let's mark that out. Get to cutting. Time to bring out the grinder. Yeah, we pulled this out front here because we're going to cut. We don't want to cut inside. But basically, we want to cut it somewhere right around in there. Because this rim right here is going to fit down inside there. And then we're going to bend it over a little bit in a few places to hold it on. So how are we going to get a nice straight line going this way? Well, we can follow that there, but I think what I'm going to end up doing is I got these dividing things. I'm going to set it right there. And since I want to cut it right about there, all I got to do, maybe one-handed, is follow that right there. It makes a nice straight line. Voila! Time to cut. Alright, let's check it out, see if it's gonna work, huh? Maybe. Okay, we got that cut off. Little past midrib. We wanted to leave enough on there to have some just in case. Just in case. And we're gonna see this. Oh, look at that. That's gonna fit in there nicely. Just like that. We can bend some of these over, hold it on there nice and tight, put a couple screws in it. Look at that. We just squatted a drum. Chopped? Yeah, chopped it. We chopped it. All right, let me show you what I did here. Basically, I cut some slits down. Yep, cut some slits down. Cut some slits down. Didn't bend that one over yet. I'm gonna save some, but that's on there, nice and securely. So now that we got the barrel somewhat back together again, we can get back to this cut. Right here, which will be that way, across that way, across that way. To get our flat top on. That's next. Okay, I made my cut across the top where I want it, and I figure I better lay this door out before I get too carried away and this thing gets too floppy. So, I got a marker here somewhere. Right here. Oh, I should probably measuring this with something. See if I can get close to roughly. Close to roughly. That's close enough again. 6. But that's close enough. Close enough to roughly. 5. Yeah, we'll go back that way just a little bit. And then we're committed. Good enough. So basically you want to leave a lip on here because you got to screw this to that. So it's got to have a flange. You got to mark the inside of the door like that. Now you also have this ventilation hole dealio down here. So you got to mark where that is because you got to cut down. So I'm going to mark there. Yep. And there. Roughly. And then the bottom of this. Make sure that's still lined up right. Bottom of this is there. Get this out of the way. And we're going to go down like that. And we're going to go down like that. Put this back on here. See if that's going to work.
And I do believe, indubitably, that's gonna work. That's gonna work.
Let's get the cut. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Now we are going to have to round these corners a little bit, but I wanted to put this on here just to make sure everything was beautiful. And it's looking beautiful. Now all we got to do is mark all these holes, do some drilling, and some bolts. Oogly doogly, we got all of our holes drilled in there. This is working nice, clears nice, got the corners ground down. Now it's a little sharp under here, so I got to pull this door off to get the paint off of here, so we can clean that edge up when we do that. But before we do that, we're gonna cut down our sides. Yeah, cut down our, yeah, those things right there. What are they called? Sides. We're gonna cut from the top down to the bottoms. Actually, we're gonna lay it this way and cut across. You get the idea. Three of them. Hueys. Howling. Well, now I got a floppy mess. The back came off, but that's okay. Put it back on. I'll put some screws in this time. There it is. We're going to have to fine tune it a little bit, but basically that's what we're looking at there. So we're going to put the back on, secure it better, pull this tape off of here, and see if we can do some fine tuning with the top plate. Oh, we get some legs on it. We got legs. Almost forgot about the legs. Where's the legs? Oh, yeah, there's one set of legs. There's another one somewhere. Yep. Over there. Get them on. Okay, what did we done? Where were we? Okay, were we down there or were we up here? Well, we're up here now. Anyway, we got this sitting where we want it. I ended up putting a ratchet strap back around here to bring it back together. Ran some screws in various places along. I am going to go back when I'm done and cut more slits in here and bend this the rest of the way over to hold it on there nice and secure. But I don't want to leave, where's that? I don't want to leave any paint or anything on there, so I want to strip all that paint off first before I go ahead and did all that. Because if I leave it on there, it's going to burn probably, and then our good paint, it's the high temperature paint that goes on top of it, isn't going to stick. So we got to get all that off of there, because it'll be nasty if we don't. So where were we? What are we doing now? Okay, you know what I want to do? I want to get the legs on this thing. I still got to cut that back off and fit the top, but because it's roly-poly, we're going to get some legs on it, so let's do that next. Okay, basically what I done diddly did is I got the front leg on there, right where I want it, right in the front. That's why I call it the front leg, because it goes in the front, not the back. And I put a square on there because this is flat. Make sure it's square with the door. Now I can mark my holy dolies. Yeah, mark the holes and put them on. And then once those are established, I can put the back legs on and it'll be nice and flat. Okay, now that we got our legs on, sitting nice and flat, nice and square, we're going to have to cut this back off. We're also, if you can see, that's cut on an angle there, and that's cut straight there, so it's sticking up. So I am going to have to come through here and cut this down, because you can see it's sticking up and it won't work. So we're going to mess with that a little bit. We're going to cut the back off nice and flat, and yeah, start fitting our top. Looking good. Okay, Nomies, we got all of our pieces cut and fit, the barrels cut down to size, everything's fitting nicely, so it's off to paint. Let's get that thing out of the shop, because there's something else we got coming up that we got to finish. We got to finish. What is it? What is it? That right there. Clearing out the shop to break out the sewing machine. Time to finish up a teepee. Let's do it. See you next time.
I'm a know-me, he's a know-me, she's a know-me, you're a know-me, wouldn't you like to be a know-me? Click the subscribe down on the bottom, click the like button down on the bottom, or make a comment down on the bottom. Peace out.